Holly Price with woodlandshits.com, and I have the gorgeous Carol Knott here in studio to talk about our conversations with Carol with RE/MAX Integrity. How are you, Carol?
I'm doing great today. A little warm outside, but hey.
Just a little bit, and frizzy hair.
Okay, we'll get through it, and soon we'll be complaining about too much rain or
Yes,
something.
well, we already had just too much rain. We almost had to get a canoe just to come into the studio. So you're going through some really fun stuff right now. You are actually selling your home.
I am. It's a whole new world for me. I have helped so many people, and it's been an eye-opening experience to finally understand what the sellers and buyers are going through from a stress level and that kind of thing. I've been in my home for 24 years, and I am getting ready to make some life changes and move into a one-story. So it's a whole new ballgame for me.
Right. Well, I'm excited for you.
Thank you.
So tell me, what are some of the, a couple of the things that were challenges for you as a seller?
Well, when I was thinking about putting my house on the market, I told a couple of my agent friends that I was going to be doing that, and if they had somebody that would be interested in the house, to let me know. I'd make arrangements for it to be shown, but it really wasn't show ready at that point. And I did have a couple of agents who showed it and had no interest whatsoever. This was a couple of months ago, okay? But I wasn't really ready and all that kind of stuff. But then I decided to get serious and get it ready for the market, and I walked through it as if I were a buyer, and I realized all the blemishes that I had not addressed.
I bet that was a challenge.
It was quite a challenge.
Yeah.
With 24 years, you have 24 years of stuff. Even though, I had, over the time frame, I'd maintained my home, I'd done my updates. The bones of things were very good. But when you started walking into the house, it's like, oh my goodness, this room has no room in it because there's too much in it. Or you've just kind of let things pile up here on this desk, and it doesn't look like a model home like it should be.
Right.
So it was quite an eye-opening experience for me personally.
I bet. And you had mentioned earlier when we were chatting before we started the interview, you were talking about some sweat equity. So you put some sweat equity into the home to help get it ready, to have people come and look at the home. What typical things did you do?
Well, the number one thing was clean.
Mm-hmm.
And I power washed everything I could possibly power wash outside. The driveway, the front walks, the deck, all that kind of stuff, trying to get all that. Cleaned out my gutters, which, by the way, already look like they need it again. That's just what happens when pine needles start doing their thing, I guess. But the biggest thing I did was really try to assess the space in the rooms, because that is really where I had lost control living in the house. The house, I will honestly say, feels so much better now than it did. My office, I work from home quite a bit, so my office had 2 desks, television mounted on the wall, printer off to the side, the shredder off to the side, computers on the desk, stacks of files off, and so I had to literally remove one of the desks, pack away a lot of stuff, just declutter. That room was the biggest challenge. One of my bedrooms, I have exercise equipment in, but yet I also had another desk and, a trunk. And so it was like, okay. And luckily I have a son who has good muscle. And he came over and helped me quite a bit with taking the furniture out and getting it relocated and stored for me so that I could present the home in a much better light.
Almost like staging it.
Yes, absolutely. So clean and stage. And then the other thing I would encourage sellers who are thinking about getting their home on the market is to get objective people to walk through the house. I had one friend walk through the house with me, and she made several great suggestions. We moved a few things around to kind of restage the room with the furniture that was there, to open it up, make it look a little bit better and all that kind of stuff. And then when I thought it was ready, I had someone else come in and look at it again. And because I knew I was not being completely objective. And I think that that's a big thing that sellers for themselves are. It's their home. They have to live there. And the second person said, well, you need to get rid of this. And I went, no. And she said, well, it'll make a better impression. And so I thought, okay, I'll get rid of it for the photographs, so the photographs don't look cluttered. And then I like the look of it so much that I didn't put anything back. So less is really more. Less is really
I know
more.
when we sold our house, the same thing, and they actually made us remove all of our family photos because it made them visualize them
Right.
living in the home, so we tried to keep it as simple as possible.
Yeah.
And because you did all of these amazing things, your home sold.
In 2 days. And honestly, I first of all think it was truly a God thing, but it did sell in 2 days. We're having inspections today, so that's a whole nother stress factor that comes into it.
Right.
How are those gonna, the house was built in the early 80s, so there are going to be things on that inspection report that
Sure.
I'm going to have to address, and I know that.
Well, I'm really excited for you.
Thank
and,
you.
Thank you so much for coming in and sharing this with us, because I know when people are trying to sell their homes, they get really flustered, and we totally appreciate you guys and your knowledge, all the people that you know and your network, and so that's amazing. So
Well, thanks. I appreciate that. And honestly, I'll just say that I feel like now I have a little bit more of a new dimension to share with my sellers, because now I have a lot more empathy
sure.
than I did before. Before it was like, well, you need to do this. And it was real cut and dried. And now I'm a little bit more like, let me tell you
I've been
why you need to do this.
Right, because I had to do it just not too long ago.
Yeah. So, but
Well,
thank you for having me. I
Of
appreciate
course,
it.
absolutely. We love having you in the studio. So thank you again, Carol Knott with Remax Integrity. And how can they get in touch with you?
Cell phone is 713-253-7812. And email is carol@thehometownteam.com.
Thank you so much, Carol. Have a great day.
Thank you. Bye-bye.